Gobble, gobble, get your turkeys out. It's Thanksgiving. Here we are, MnM going deep with a special Thanksgiving week preview. NFL season is in full stride. The playoff picture is becoming more clear. And we are in week 12. Cole, how was your week?
It was great. We were 2-0. You and
Two.
me, 1-0 for the Browns. Dorian Thompson Robinson finds a way. Defense wins championships, not backup quarterbacks. And then Packers found a way. And
Packers?
Keenan Allen had a couple good drop passes, and then we're the 8 seed.
Man, Quentin Johnston, big drop pass.
I think there was more to it than just that one too. And like you look at the fumble by Austin Eckler, but don't want to get into that game too much just yet. But Packers are the 8 seed in the playoff race. Denver Broncos beat the Vikings. Cole Mueller is not crazy.
Not crazy, not dead yet. Do have to do a little housekeeping touch up on personal lives. So Cole, you've yet to play your turkey bowl for your battalion, but over here, I'm a turkey bowl champion, baby.
Did you get a medal or anything, or are you just saying that?
We get a trophy, and then we were given PT off this week, so that was fun. But just want to shout out the Diesel boys. We saw, we conquered, besting Blackfoot in the opening match, and then playing Apache in the second, in the championship game, and we were the better team. We were the better team out there. The FSC wins.
So what's funny about that is I was talking to some intel from Blackfoot, and they said that there were really it was just because Blackfoot and Apache had to play each other in the first round of games. And those were the two best teams. And luckily, you only had to play one of those two teams.
We played
And
Apache had to play Dark Horse, and after watching Apache and Dark Horse play, neither of those teams were better than Diesel.
Dark Horse, yeah.
Diesel was the better team, and then when we played Apache and we lined up against them, we smacked them around. Went up 3 scores, fucking had them pinned deep on a 4th down, and they literally quit. They literally stopped playing. They walked off the field because they could not move the ball against our defense. And it's hilarious to me that Dark Horse and Apache think that way. That are like, oh, well, we had to play more games or whatever. Nope. Diesel could have played every team in the squadron that day in order to win, and we would have beaten every single team.
Yeah. I believe it. I believe it.
I had more our team had more people than anybody. We practiced more than anybody, and it showed.
Well, I'm proud of you, and PT off is honestly a good prize. I
It's a
didn't think of
decent
that.
price. Yeah.
I didn't think of that, and I want to do that for ours. But
Um, I thought of a punishment for our bets, our pick sixes here.
okay, what is it?
Uh, grow a mustache for a month.
Um, okay.
You got anything?
I got it. Well, you got to give me a week to rebuttal.
All right. You have a week to rebuttal. We gotta, and also next week will be another early week episode because this guy has to go on the spur ride because he's a part of the cavalry.
When do you go on the tour ride?
Start on Wednesday.
That's not
So
bad.
got to do the cavalry traditions and say the fiddler's green, get smoked, and all that good jazz. We're really letting our audience know a little bit more about our personal lives now. But I think that's a good recap. Hopefully next week when we reconvene for MnM Going Deep, you have another Turkey Bowl championship or champion on this podcast. But let's get into it. First down, baby. Week 11 NFL season. Bengals, Ravens. Ravens beat the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Joe Burrow hurt. Ravens 34, Bengals 20. Cole, what'd you see?
I mean, that's the whole storyline of that game is Joe Burrow.
Yep.
And I know there's the investigation on if the Bengals were maybe hiding that injury in the injury report, and that could be used against the Bengals and their organization. But I mean, Joe Mixon had a hell of a game. I thought Joe Mixon was just, I don't get why they can't run the ball. It's almost like the James Cook, the Isaiah Pacheco, like give him the ball more. And those teams, just like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, they want to keep the ball in their elite quarterback's hands so much that they're reluctant to give a running back 20 plus carries a game. But Joe Mixon was just, I remember watching him in the first half, and this guy literally was doing everything. And like this was, I think, the most carries he's had.
This
I
season.
mean, yeah. I mean, let's just go through. Uh, yeah, he's had no more than 16 carries in a game. So when you get him going, it's really something that you want to just like pound off of. And the Bengals offensive line looks good. You wonder what their team's going to look like with Jake Browning at quarterback. I
Not
don't
good.
know if they're going to be a playoff team at this point.
Yeah, and everybody wanted to shit on Deshaun Watson's contract and the Browns' backup quarterback situation. Well, Joe Burrow got paid a whole bunch of money. Now he's out for the season, and there's no real good backup quarterback situation in Cincinnati. The other injury coming out of this game is Mark Andrews with the ankle.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh did have a press conference today saying that there is a slight chance that Mark Andrews can return this season. That's good for football if Mark Andrews can return. It's upsetting that he went down. It's another case of that drop tackle we keep talking about and seeing week after week that claim people's ankles.
And Odell Beckham, my last thing on this game. Odell Beckham looks like the young OBJ.
Fuck old Dale Beckham with that holding penalty that cost me a Zay Flowers 64-yard touchdown.
Zay Flowers also looks like a young OBJ. But all right, that was a good game, 34-20. Ravens covered. Next game, Chargers at Packers. So Packers 23, Chargers 20. Packers' biggest takeaway is Jordan Love to me. 2 weeks in a row, he's looked like damn near. I mean, this week, I would say -1 throw to Luke Musgrave. Like damn near flawless. I mean, there was one time where you got a strip sack off the edge that luckily our offensive lineman recovered the ball, but Khalil Mack was coming off free off the edge. Like there was no one getting, in his way. So Jordan Love just impresses me, and I know I'm like the biggest Jordan Love fan, and he can do no wrong in my eyes type person, but I do believe that the GM Brian Gutekunst would be stupid to move on. And I don't think they will move on from Jordan Love if he continues just like the next 7 games of the season in the same stat line that he has right now. I think he still gets another season to, play quarterback for the Packers. But that was a good gritty win. I know we can do the bullshit of like, hey, the Chargers beat themselves, which wouldn't be the first time, wouldn't be the second time. But guess what? The Packers have beat themselves. The Packers are the Chargers of the NFC.
Packers
And
tried to give the Chargers more opportunities to win that game.
yeah, the difference is, Matt LaFleur was conservative in that last drive to seal it, 3 straight runs right up the middle. He said he was embarrassed at his play calling after the game in the press conference. But I mean, you look at the differences. The Chargers are not a young team. The Packers are. So what we have building is something of youth just continuing to grow and build confidence. And the Chargers, kind of the opposite. Like you expect them to be on the up and up as like a playoff team and not going through these woes that they have themselves in. But
And
yeah,
Joey Bosa hurt. He never came
yeah.
back. That's
Aaron Jones
Aaron
might have just
Jones.
dodged a what looked like a career-ending knee injury. He apparently is potentially coming back this season. So
You
That's good
think so?
news.
Did they get an MRI on him or anything?
They said he avoided a long-term injury.
Maybe it's just a sprain.
But yeah, did you see that knee? It
Yeah,
looked like
no,
a dent in
we
three
watched
different,
the.
yeah,
I don't know why in that game, like they showed that replay. I don't know how
four
many
times.
times.
They wanted to show that one and Joey Bosa's like five times each, and they never want to show injuries. But regardless,
Insane. And I think the biggest takeaway from a non-Packer fan, me watching that game, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs all stepped up, had great games all across the board. Like that unit as a whole is coming together. The young wide receivers and Jordan Love are starting to get on the same page, and I think that should be your like feel good moment of like they're all coming together as like a unit.
yeah, no, I think no doubt that we're excited about the talent we have on offense. It's just about how soon can we get it consistently producing. But next game, Steelers at Browns. Browns 13, Steelers 10. What do you got?
Browns kick a last second field goal to win the game. They were up 10-0 in the first half, and then Steelers stormed right back, tied the game 10-10. Not a lot of offense in this game. AFC North, bitter rivals, know each other so well. Browns squeaked one out. Squeaked one out. It's good to see them win in against Baltimore and then Pittsburgh back-to-back weeks. First time in franchise history ever doing that. It's the best start for the Browns since 1994. It's it's a feel-good season right now, but it's always a high on Monday and then it's back to normal Browns business Tuesday until the next Sunday. So here I am sitting in my chair happy, but by tomorrow I will start doubting that the Browns can do anything again in the game that they're going to walk into against Denver this week.
Yeah,
Steelers, your offense sucks. You're and I don't know what the fuck you're doing because Jalen Warren is your best player. You give him a carry in the second half, he sparks a 75-yard touchdown, which is your only touchdown of the day. And then you give him 5 carries after that. Najee Harris out touched him, and Jalen Warren was getting on average like 12 yards a carry. It was ridiculous. I don't know why like the split is so huge between the two of them when Jalen Warren is clearly the better back.
yeah. I was gonna say the same thing about Jalen Warren, and I saw it with the Packers game too. He was just more explosive, playing against the Packers the week before. Najee Harris looked good against us too, but it's just the way they use him is like Jalen Warren seems like the dynamic, the Tony Pollard type, maybe the Aaron Jones type, and then Najee Harris looks like the Zeke Elliott, AJ Dillon type. And however you want to use it, 1A, 1B, it's going to be something where you want to get when you have no production in your run game on offense, you need to mix it up and you need to give the guy that's getting you your chunk plays the ball.
Which they
Uh,
completely went away from in this game, which made no sense to me.
but this game to me kind of flipped. Like this was a massive game for playoffs because I think both teams have overperformed their ability so far this season. And like not to slight the Browns at all and what they're doing. I think they're a really good team, but I think they've overperformed thus far in their schedule. And then this really kind of just was a massive win to like put you in like the defined playoff contention group. Like you look at your schedule, I can see you guys getting to 10 wins, and I think 10 wins gets you at the 7 seed because you're going to play the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are something you're going to be scared about with Jake Browning. The Jets, I don't think Rodgers is coming back after this past week. I think he's not going to have a chance to make that team go to the playoffs. So I think it's going to be an easy win for you at home against New York. And then you got to win one of those next 5 games. Broncos, weirdly, that's a tough game. Broncos are favored in that, but we'll get to that later. Rams, I think that Rams with Stafford, that's a tough game. That's a sneaky tough game. Not saying it's not winnable, Jaguars, tough game. Bears, you got to win that one. So I see 3 easy wins. Then you got the Texans, which is a toss up. So
Yeah,
I
I've looked at our schedule a bunch of times, and it's a lot of teams that are in playoff contention or can make they get on a stretch here and they can make the playoffs. Like
make it
I
difficult.
still
Yeah.
think the Rams, like we've talked about it, I still think the Rams can make a run at that 7 seed for
Oh,
for
for
the
sure,
NFC.
for sure. I think you could make that call for no doubt. But good thing the Packers beat the Rams. Anyways, that gets you to 10-7, and then 10-7. You like your odds at
The
being in the
thing that
playoffs.
the thing that I'm gonna hang my hat on, which I've seen it more like definitely the past 2 weeks more, is the Browns defense is there. Like they change games. I think like the teams that we just listed off, I think the Browns defense against their offense, those offenses, that could be a bad day at the office for a lot of those offenses.
Then the next game we had Cardinals at Houston facing the Texans. Texans come back 21-6.
Texans win 21-16. CJ Stroud, Tank Dell hook up for a 40-yard touchdown. Kyler Murray, second game back, fall just short. Stupid decisions in this game by the Cardinals. They get the ball late in the fourth quarter, don't kick a field goal. Instead, they try to go for it on fourth down. They end up getting the ball back again. Instead of being able to win with a field goal, they have to score a touchdown. They were unable to do it. I think this is the game that CJ Stroud not the like is unraveling, but you saw that he was a rookie in the second half. He had 2 interceptions in the second half, didn't have his best half. And I guess it was like his coming to grace moment of, this guy's human.
Yeah, no, I honestly thought that CJ Stroud, didn't play a bad game, but it just made you, like you said, looks human. He's not just going to be on some unstoppable tear. But Kyler Murray, his stat line doesn't look crazy, but I mean, he had some pop plays that obviously we saw on highlights. Doesn't have a ton of help. I'd say looking at just that offensive core, probably one of the worst offensive teams in football, just because of the talent they have around him.
I
And
put it right there with the Panthers.
and that's the thing is like Kyler Murray is a proven playmaker. And
Mm-hmm.
so it sucks that, you don't build anything around him. And I know like if you're a Cardinal fan, you might have like special feelings about Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore, but who's that legit throw it up to him? He's going to come down with that guy that you have on the team. And do the Cardinals have a top? So they didn't trade their pick away or anything, right? They have their
No,
pick.
they have the Houston Texans first round pick.
So but they don't have theirs.
No, the Cardinals have their own and the Houston Texans.
So that might like Marvin Harrison is an Arizona Cardinal. Can we just say it right now? Like that's
That's good.
Marvin Harrison is the guy they need, and they're not going to draft a quarterback. That would be stupid to get rid of Kyler Murray for a quarterback. I'm
Unless
not
you
saying
get something crazy in return.
shit. My dog, meanwhile, is committing fucking kamikaze. Hopefully, you can't hear him. Hey,
Oh, I can hear him.
okay, but anyways, next game.
Unless so they would only trade Kyler Murray unless they get a king's ransom in return. Not like a king's ransom, but like at least a high first round draft pick or something of that matter that they can make a move to draft a quarterback and then still shore up other holes.
Yeah. So, what are you trying to say? You want them to?
I don't. It would be insane to see them trade away Kyler Murray, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think there would be a lack of teams wanting him if he was let go. But
let's head to Tennessee, where we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars throttle the Tennessee Titans. Jacksonville Jaguars 34, Tennessee Titans 14. Jaguars defense really stifled Will Levis.
And that game wasn't even as close as the score shows.
No.
I want to say, let's look at when those garbage points are put up.
I'm pretty sure they scored a garbage time touchdown.
the second half that shit. So that shit was 27 nothing, and Lambeau agrees. But yeah, I don't know if fucking Will Levis, he had a good passer rating. If I recall,
He had 158 yards on 17 attempts
yeah. But let's look at 13. Yep. See, look at his passer rating, 143.8. I remember seeing this. He had like the second best passer rating, or
on the
he had I
day.
think like the first maybe. It was like him, and then who's Mike DeVito, and then
Tommy DeVito.
oh yeah. I think it's Mike DeVito.
No, it's Tommy.
Is it really?
His name is TD. But Trevor Lawrence had a bounce back game. Trevor Lawrence looked very good. 2 rushing touchdowns. Hooked up with Calvin Ridley. Score another touchdown. A lot of people who sat Calvin Ridley are really kicking themselves this week. Me. Tennessee Titans fall again. I think I told you last week that the Jaguars, after that loss to the 49ers, that'd be a wash away game, and they 100% did it right here. Had an inferior opponent in the Titans, went into their stadium and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, and Jaguars are still, I think they're a top 3 team in the AFC this year. Like right now, they're consistent. They play really good defense, really good offense. You were looking to see that game against the Niners as a one-off, and that's what it was. Titans, I think this just officially puts you into the hey, let's build for next year category.
Yeah, you
And
got to see what Will Levis is. You just played out with Will Levis for the rest of the season, and you're like, okay, let's put some pieces around Will Levis after this.
And it sucks that they didn't want to like give away Derrick Henry. You know, probably some just terrible trade offers, but this is not the team Derrick Henry wants to be on.
No, maybe even shut him down.
Well, then what are you going to do with his career?
Shut him down, save him for next year, make another run at it after that. Just got to plug a lot of holes. The defense isn't that great. Offensive line sucks. Not getting the big chunk plays in the run game like they used to. But that's about it out of that game. Let's head to Miami, where the Dolphins beat the Raiders 20-13. Raiders were pretty tough in this game.
Yeah, I think they're like the Broncos. They're like one of those teams where no game is going to be an easy out against them for the rest of the season.
Nope.
At least for the next. I think you got a team that's just going to fight hard, and even with Aiden O'Connell, you're like, what is that team going to do on offense? But
they're competitive with him.
And that wasn't a win over 500 for the Dolphins.
It wasn't, because the Raiders were 500. But going into this game, the spread was 13.5 points for the Dolphins. Raiders hold it to a 7-point loss. That's a pretty impressive, and I think that Antonio Pierce, if he continues on this trend, he could really cement himself as the top candidate for the Las Vegas Raiders head coaching position.
But then I also saw reports that like he lost the team. Kind of an interesting topic. Not lost the team. All of the power has left the team, or left him in charge of the team, so that the players are fully in control.
So it's just a players team right now.
Yeah,
maybe that's what some teams need to go to.
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of teams have it that way. It's just not really like explicitly known. But
I mean, I don't think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs would be a team that a lot of the players have a lot of say in it. But Andy Reid is, Andy Reid.
Yeah, and then
Tyreek Hill, really good
at football. Devin A-Chain injured. Doesn't matter. They have Savion Ahmed and fucking
Raheem Mostert
and Savion Ahmed. But they'll make shit happen. Next game, Dallas Cowboys 33 in Carolina 10. For Bryce Young.
we head to Carolina, Cowboys 33, Panthers 10. For Bryce Young, even though he threw another pick six to De'Aaron Bland. That guy's putting himself into conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. I think that's his fourth or fifth pick six.
Yeah, it's his fourth. But um freaking what do we expect in this game? Both of our locks. We didn't
Both
expect anything different.
Nope. Both are locks. I took this in one of my pick sixes. I I was trying to tell Dakota the night before when he was like, I'm on the Panthers. I was like, dude, the one thing I know about the Cowboys this year is the Cowboys throttle bad teams. The Panthers are a bad team. That is what their staple is this year. If the Cowboys get into a game with a team that is below 500 or just bad, they will just blow the doors off of them. I don't think like the score doesn't show them get like blowing the doors off them, but there was almost no doubt in this game ever that the Cowboys were going to not cover the spread.
Yeah. And like stat line doesn't even look that crazy for the Cowboys. Just kind of a pedestrian day for Dak Prescott. Tony Pollard still hasn't really gotten going. Everyone's kind of disappointed with the Cowboys in terms of how they can't get their run game going. And then Brandon Cooks, their leading receiver with only 42 yards. But yeah, you're kind of just sad as a Panthers fan because you traded your pick. You
They
gave up your house for fucking Bryce
Bryce
Young.
Young.
And Bryce Young's not you can't just say it's over for him. Like you're just not as excited as you are about CJ Stroud, which makes you less excited
Yeah,
for Bryce
like
Young.
we know a Panther fan who hates CJ Stroud now, and it's solely because the Panthers didn't take him.
Yes.
They'll forever be tied to one another. I mean, like anytime I see Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson do something good, I just think about how the Browns drafted Baker Mayfield.
Hey, he's doing well on the Bucks.
They
Um,
mm,
then we got Chicago Bears going into Detroit. Detroit wins in a 12-point comeback in the final 4 minutes of the game, 31-26. It was bullshit,
Justin Fields
honestly.
balled out in this game.
Yeah, and it fucking sucks that like 4 turnovers to 1 turnover on the ratio.
The
Jared Goff gets booed in his own stadium, and this is what happens.
And I think they got outgained too. I think the Bears offense outgained the Lions offense.
Yeah, Justin Fields surpasses 100 yards rushing.
I think that this is the game that cements that you got to move away from Matt Eberflus as a head coach.
Just what I don't even know what happened in the final drive that they gave back to the Lions.
It just like you don't like a good coach. You don't have an epic collapse like that where you're up that many points and then all of a sudden the Bears were in the driver's seat this entire game and they could have had more turnovers. Remember when Jalen Johnson could have had that pick six on the goal line?
Oh yeah, and then but is that his fault? No.
No, he dropped it, but I'm just saying like this game was the Bears game to win or lose.
Yeah.
It had, like they lost it in typical Bears fashion. Well, not I wouldn't say typical Bears fashion, but recent memory Bears fashion. I think a better head coach who everybody in Chicago is looking at Jim Harbaugh up the fucking a couple states over at Michigan thinking like he's their saving grace. And I would say so. In a game like this, I think Jim Harbaugh would easily dominate the Lions.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not with the defense. I mean, like, thing about the Lions is they can run the ball, and I think they did when they needed to. But it's just like a impressive win for the Lions. It's like they're 8-2 now. It's their first time they've been 8-2 since the 60s. They're finding ways to win in ways they've never done before. Like each week, they're kind of continuing to like evolve to a different level of quality team. That's not just like they can win football games like the Dolphins. Dolphins can dominate a football game and win a football game and have a good record, but do we trust them in the playoffs? The Lions are like proving that they're not like last year's Vikings or they're not the Dolphins, where you're worried about them winning against quality football teams. The Lions can win gutsy games. They can win, you know what I mean? I put them more in the cloth of the 49ers this year or the Eagles, a team that can play dirty football, play dirty games, and dominate at the same time. But yeah, that's all I have. Next game we got Giants at Commanders. Giants, shocking win, go to 31-19, double-digit victory against Sam Howell. Sam Howell's, we talked him up. We said he was the guy. 3 interceptions, 6 turnovers for the Commanders offense. I didn't watch much of this game, and I will be honest, I didn't. Tommy DeVito, Mike DeVito's brother, maybe. I didn't watch one highlight of that game, so I'm not gonna. I saw Saquon Barkley had some big runs.
Saquon looked good. Tommy DeVito tore up the Washington Commanders defense, and I think this game eliminates the Commanders from being in contention of that 7th seed in the playoffs, so that helps you out.
Yeah, I would say it's I mean, it's the Vikings, and then I don't want to talk about the playoffs of the Packers, even though I already did, until we play the Lions. But I really think like the Bucks, the Vikings, the Rams, and the Packers are the teams that you're looking at, and the Vikings have by far the easiest path. But yeah, that was a good win for the Giants. You know, just esprit de corps, we should say. But next game,
What pisses me off about the Giants winning this game is it helps the odds of the Patriots getting a high pick. A look forward for this is the Giants play the Patriots this week, and I'm praying that the Giants lose because I do not want to see Caleb Williams or Drake May on the Patriots for the next 10 years.
yeah, they deserve it.
No, they don't.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers go to San Francisco. San Francisco wins 13-point spread or wins by 13 points, 27-14. Brock Purdy, 3 touchdown passes. Looks like the same old 49ers. They got rid of their how long of a streak? It was a 3-game losing streak, right? They were 4-0, went on a 3-game losing streak, won 3 in a row. Or no, 5-game winning streak, 3 games, and then now 2. But regardless, Mayfield's throwing the ball around. They don't really have a run game. Rashad White's not like I don't know. I haven't seen consistent Rashad White carries, like carry in, carry out, where you're watching. I think on running backs, you really need to watch like almost every carry and every touch they have to evaluate them properly because you just see the highlights and you think that player is really good. But
I mean, only having 9 carries, that's pretty shitty.
But you look at the Buccaneers; they probably have one of the worst running attacks in the NFL.
I 100% agree, and I think when this game starts getting away from you a little bit, it didn't start until the second half, but only 9 attempts is kind of.
And when Kate Otten is your leading receiver, that's like not saying he's a bad guy,
but you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah, like I think Kate Otten's like is a higher quality tight end than people really give him credit for, but still, that's a tough way to go.
And
Looks like
and the 49ers look like they're clicking on all cylinders again, and that's good for them because they're playing the Seahawks this week.
Yeah. Next game, Jets Bills. Bills 32, Jets 6. Zach Wilson, that's his last game starting for the Jets.
That's sad.
It is. And it'll be fucking it's gonna be Tim Boyle, Packers old backup, Green Bay East, who's gonna start. Honestly, I don't think he's gonna win them football games, but I don't think he's gonna be the reason they lose games. I think he's just gonna be
You think he's gonna keep them in games better than Zach Wilson?
I mean, it's hard to say he can't do it better than Zach Wilson after this last win or last loss. But the thing is, Zach Wilson's not doing things the way he can. Like so many of these plays you're watching, and it's just him dropping back in a 5-step drop, 7-step drop. The tackle doesn't get to where he needs to be on his fucking set, and then the defensive end just goes straight around him, and then he climbs the pocket. His interior line just fucking gives in,
So
and
I was gonna say, is this Zach Wilson's fault really, or is it Nathaniel Hackett's fault for not like because their offensive line like that was like the thing about the Jets this going into this season, and you saw it in Hard Knocks too, is that the Jets offense they knew their offensive line was going to be bad, and like they lost Mekhi Becton in this game. Like there's no help for that offensive line, even if you had Aaron Rodgers. I would say some of the closer games that they played and they ended up losing, he probably could have won those games. But like games like this, the Bills probably would have smacked the Jets anyways.
I mean, and the one thing about that is like you look at what Rodgers, I don't know. I watch the Pat McAfee show on Aaron Rodgers Tuesday every single week because I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan for life. And his viewpoint on the games, like you ask him about the Jets games, and he's completely backed and defended Zach Wilson every week up until last week. And he said he that players were making a lot of mistakes and because he was defending Nathaniel Hackett. And so that was like the final straw in the hat where he picked Nathaniel Hackett over Zach Wilson as his backing. And I think obviously we expected that, but he had Zach Wilson's back this whole season. And I'm not saying he's done with them, but I think Aaron Rodgers finally is like, even him. I'd be curious to hear what he says tomorrow on the Pat McAfee show. We're recording this on Monday, to see what Rodgers says on Tuesday about Zach Wilson, and Tim Boyle taking over. But Nathaniel Hackett, I don't know if it was really him that deserved the credit for the Packers and Rodgers' two MVPs because it was Matt LaFleur's offense. It was never Nathaniel Hackett's offense. Nathaniel
Yes.
Hackett came from the Jaguars, the one season when they had a good run with the Jaguars and the Leonard Fournette game with Blake Bortles. That was the one year that Nathaniel Hackett had some success as an offensive coordinator in his offense.
And Matt LaFleur calls the plays too, right?
Yeah, so it was never Nathaniel Hackett like calling. It was just his charisma in my mind that got him those jobs. And like he seems like a phenomenal dude, but just as an offensive mind, I don't know if I love it.
I
But
don't know. I was questioning Nathaniel Hackett last year, and then watching the Jets this year, I kind of question him more. If you're a Bills fan, Cole, are you completely on the Joe Brady train now?
I didn't watch again. I didn't watch much of that game or even the highlights, so I can't really say if I'm a fan what I would like about that. But the score and what seems like just on the stat line, that offense seems to be back to where they were when they beat the fucking Dolphins by fucking double digits.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say Falcons or Dolphins? Say Dolphins.
You said the Dolphins.
Okay, good. But yeah, I mean, now they're Bills are the 8 seed looking in. Kind of funny how that works. AFC's tougher, different, you know.
I mean, this is the stretch right here for the Bills. This is what will determine if you're going to be in the playoffs or not. Like this stretch right here. Eagles, and then your bye week, Kansas City, Cowboys. Those 3 games will decide if you are in the playoffs or not.
Yeah, I think you got to go 2-1 in those.
I think you have to go 2-1 in those 3 games.
And I don't think they. You said Eagles, Chiefs, and Cowboys. I think they can beat the Cowboys. I think they can win all 3 of those games, but I don't know. It's
Depends on what version of the Bills shows up.
yeah. I'm gonna bet money on the good Bills, but next game, Seahawks Rams. Kind of always thought the Seahawks were gonna win this game. They just couldn't fucking score in the red zone. It was
Nope.
13-0 in the first half. Seahawks are Geno Smith, interesting. He gets injured, goes out. Drew Lock comes in, is playing like the whole second half. And the last series of the game, they're like, hey, fuck it.
Gino, go back in there.
Let's try to see if you can like come back from the dead and and that doesn't happen. But Uh, I mean, they get to the field goal range and then they get a big chunk play, 23 seconds left, and they decide not to try to take, two more attempts to get more yards. Pete Carroll's like, no, I'm perfectly fine with a 55-yard attempt. So interesting coaching. A lot of people are saying it's because he's a defensive minded guy. Doesn't really trust his offense all that well in that moment. But, you think about that situation, they had the timeouts, they could have done, 15 more yards on that drive, made it an easy field goal that Jason Myers didn't have to miss. But
Couple other things out of this game. Kenneth Walker goes down. Zach Charbonnet, as this is his backfield now. Seahawks committed 12 penalties for 130 yards. Probably not going to win any games doing that. Rams get a big win. I forgot going into last week when we did our picks that that Sean McVay owns Pete Carroll. So I wish I didn't pick that.
yeah, me neither. But look, Seahawks, look at their schedule. Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles.
Yes. Yeah.
And then so all of a sudden, do the Seahawks go to 6-8? Do
Six
they
and
go to
eight, and
seven
then
seven
end
and
the
seven
season with probably three of the easiest games.
7-7 at best? And then then you're looking at, I mean, the Steelers is a toss up. I think I think the Steelers could win that game, even though
After
they
what I
won.
just saw out of the Steelers this past week, I think that and how the Seahawks played the Browns, I think the Seahawks will easily win that game.
Yeah, I don't know. Cardinals could make a fight. Hopefully the Seahawks go on a 4-game just drought. Well, 5-game, but uh, I don't know.
You look at your Packers schedule and you're like, wow, our schedule's tough. Seahawks might have it tougher right now, especially taking this loss from the Rams. They got swept by the Rams this year too.
Yeah, uh, it's just tough because lots of good. That's going to be the game for Thursday for Thanksgiving, but we'll get to that. But what? All right, next game.
That
Fucking
that
like
Falcons game is gonna kill you, Cole.
I know, not just the Falcons game, the Raiders game, the Broncos game,
No,
the Steelers game.
the
Yeah,
Falcons game is especially because that's an interconference game.
yeah, against a playoff team or a team that's in the playoff hunt. I don't care about any of those games. Like they're all fucking 4 of them are winnable, and that's why I tell you, what are the Packers at 4-6 with four game difference? We're 8-2. We're 8-2. Those were all games we should have won. And like we're looking at the Packers at 4-6, and we're like, oh, this is like a young team. It's a rebuilding year, dude. I don't want to hear it. 2 of those games, the refs lost for us. All right. And then one game, like we literally just fell asleep in the end of the fourth quarter, and we were the better team by far. And then the fucking Broncos game, like, okay, we played the hot team at the wrong time,
The
and
the
we still had the chance to win. We should have won. But anyways,
the drunken falling over the offensive line, Jordan Love on that what would have been a 4th and 1 in that
yeah.
Falcons game.
But anyways, that's besides the point. There's too much football to be played to be doing what ifs and could be's and should be's. Um, Vikings, Broncos, Sunday Night Football. Is Russell Wilson elite again? I don't
Yeah.
know, but
I mean
5-5 Broncos are
he's doing
something.
enough for them to win and put them in position for them to win. He's not turning the ball over.
And that's an exciting team to watch now. Like it's just unique to see that team like be fun to watch. It feels like it's been decades that they've been like just boring, but it's really only been like 5 seasons, 6 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, like Cortland Sutton has 8 touchdowns in the last 10 games. That whole team, Javonte Williams, he's one of the better backs, probably one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL. I think he had looking at it, I didn't see the stat line until now. Fucking 37 yards and 11 carries. I still think that guy is a stud. And Russell Wilson's getting a heavier load on his plate. Even with Jerry Jeudy dropping a fucking touchdown, Like they're still making big plays and big moments of the game.
And the Vikings are competitive.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are definitely worthy of being the 7th seed in the NFC. I don't think that they look at themselves any worse than they know that they had a barrier, a little gap in between them and then the 8th seed in the playoffs. No one's really looking at the playoffs right now. I feel like,
I mean, and then eventually they'll get Justin Jefferson back. And for a guy like Josh Dobbs, man, that'll fucking help.
yeah, he kind of just puts the team on his back in a weird way that like you just would have never thought the Vikings would have done too. That's what's kind of cool is you watch Josh Dobbs play for the Steelers, the Browns. Did he play for the Browns ever?
No, did
He
he
played for
start
two
a game?
teams.
Did he start a game last year? No.
But no, I mean, you're happy for Josh Dobbs, but if you're a Packer fan, you hate it. But massive, massive week occurrences for the Packers this year. All right. Going into week 12.
Monday Night Football. Who do you got?
Oh, fuck. Well, I have the Eagles and you have the Chiefs.
No, no.
You backed away from that.
Yeah,
Lambeau has
I went on to the Jags instead of the Chiefs, and man, did that pay dividends. But what are you looking to see? No Taylor Swift in the stands tonight.
I want a good football game.
Yeah, I want a good football game too. I think I would prefer to see the Eagles win.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Why?
Because it's AFC or it's NFC or AFC.
The Browns would be a half game out of the first seed in the AFC if the Chiefs lose.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of football left in that
A
situation.
lot of football left.
All right. Second down.
Second down, baby.
Packers at Lions, first game Thursday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Lions 7.5-point favorites
That is a lot.
at home, and I love that, man.
That is a lot.
But anyways, no way the Packers will beat the Lions. No way the Packers can win. There's not a chance. ESPN gives the Lions 64% chance. We do have a fuck ton of players on the injury report. We're gonna have AJ Dillon as our only running back. We just signed Patrick Taylor, our old practice squad back. He was on Patriots Patrick squad. I'm gonna jump off a building. Patrick was on the Patrick squad. But no, he's a good, niche player for us. He's a good special teams guy. He's a good pass blocker. When
If the Packers play like they did on Sunday in this game against the Lions, there's no way that the Lions win by 7.5.
Yeah. I mean, I did the math. If that Packers game, we missed 2 kicks. We missed an extra point and a field goal. That's 4 points you give our team. So it's 27-20 in that Chargers game. Chargers, wide open Keenan Allen in the end zone.
Twice.
Drops it. No, that was one time it was like actually like a touchdown for sure. And
the other one was on like the 2-yard line.
No, that was the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, though you were still outside and you were smoking a cigar when the second half.
I was watching.
He had 2 that he dropped that could have been touchdowns.
Okay, but on the same drive.
No.
Yeah, so that was the same drive. That was the same drive.
One was in the first half, one was in the second half.
That wasn't a touchdown in the first half. That wasn't like a potential touchdown that he dropped.
He was on like the 2-yard line, and there was not really any Packers around him.
I don't remember that play that you're talking about, and I want you to show me afterwards. But I know the one in the second half where.
Oh, wait a minute! I also sent you a video last night that you didn't even message me about.
I did. Well, you're gonna get way off the topic. We're talking about that right now. But anyways, that's 4 points. All right, Packers. Yes. But that's 4 points. Austin Eckler fumbles at the goal line. That's 7 points. So if the Chargers don't make those mistakes, they win by 4 points. That's 31-27 Chargers.
The
You can play that game, but that's just what I like to do that sometimes. Anyways, I like the Lions in this game. Not a doubt.
force golf into some bad decisions can go your way.
Look at the Packers injury report and then get back to me. But besides that, it'll be a fun one. You'll eat your turkey. You'll be sitting there with your miserable family, and you'll just want to like turn on the TV and watch a team that used to suck forever beat a team that used to be great forever, and you'll be like, "Wow, the evil is taking over." Anyways, that's going to be a good. That's going to be a better game than 7.5. I'd like to think, but maybe not. Maybe it's going to be a blowout. Then we have the next game, Commanders Cowboys. Every single year this game comes on, you just hope that the Commanders make it a fucking game.
I do feel like lately, like the last couple of years, that it's always been the Commanders and Cowboys.
No, it's every year.
Is it every year?
The Cowboys and Commanders play on Thanksgiving every single year.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah, and it used to be the Packers and Lions played in Detroit because Lions and Cowboys play at home on Thanksgiving every single year,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lions used to always host the Packers, and the Cowboys have always hosted the Redskins, now being the Commanders. But that game, Dallas Cowboys, 10.5 point favorites. That game is going to be on at 4:30 Eastern. And, you're going to probably sleep through that one because you're going to eat too much. And if you can stay up for that whole game after eating before 4 o'clock, let me know. But hopefully, if you're not a Cowboys or Commanders fan, that seems like an okay NFC East rivalry if Sam Howell doesn't throw 3 interceptions and that offense doesn't get 6 turnovers.
They don't play Washington every year. They played the Giants last year.
Sure. All right. You got anything on that game?
If the Washington Commanders defense is as bad as it was last week against Tommy DeVito, the Cowboys could absolutely put up 50 on the Commanders. In the line in this is 11,
10.5.
10.5 for the Cowboys.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Cowboys on that one.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Next game, 49ers going to Seattle, playing the Seahawks. Massive game. Massive game. If Seahawks somehow at home could pull that game off, 7-3 teams, I think Seattle takes the lead at 7-3 in that NFC West division. But regardless, you're tied at 7-3 for the NFC West. That's the Thursday night game. But regardless,
What do you have as a spread?
6.5 points.
6.5 for the 49ers.
Yep. And I mean, I think that seems fair.
It does seem fair, especially after the loss that the Seahawks just took against the Rams. The
Yeah.
Seahawks, remember, were in the driver's seat for this division for a little while there when the 49ers went on their skid, which has now folded back to the 49ers. 49ers now are in the driver's seat of the division. So if the Seahawks want to win this division, this is the time to do it. You need to beat your division rival, and you need to do it in your home stadium on Thanksgiving night.
Next game, Dolphins at Jets.
Black Friday.
Black Friday game. And just a black eye game for the NFL. For scheduling so many fucking Jets primetime games.
That was such a dumb idea.
Well, it wasn't. It was actually a really good idea until fucking Rodgers got his Achilles.
That's like what it is every year. They decide that they're gonna like put like a few teams all over fucking prime time, and then an injury occurs, and then we're stuck watching the fucking team over and over and over again.
The Jets are the NFL version of the Colorado Buffaloes. That's what they are.
Oh, like Deion Sanders is here? Yeah.
Going 4-1 and then fucking now they're 4-6 and or 4-7. Yeah.
I think the best thing that happened to Colorado is that the USC Trojans are bad.
Why?
Because everybody just talks about how Caleb Williams is out of the Playoff race for college football. No one talks really about Colorado anymore. But on to
Yeah.
Jets Dolphins. Dolphins -10.
Uh, Dolphins plus 9.5 or minus 9.5.
I was
Jets are plus 9.5.
I was about to say there's no way the Dolphins are underdogs in this game with
Yeah.
fucking Tim Boyle heading at the helm for the Jets. I could 100% this guy Tim Boyle. I could see him getting hurt and then have to bring in Trevor Siemian because they just announced on the depth chart that Zach Wilson's QB3,
Is he really?
which is so sad. I feel so bad for the guy.
Yeah.
Dolphins, you're playing in a under 500 team. I'm taking them. Taking the Dolphins.
Already. Okay. So a terrible Friday night game. Don't even know if you really want. Oh, it's Friday afternoon. Interesting. Friday at
Friday
3
at
p.m.
3 p.m. on Amazon.
Dude, what the fuck is that game? 3 p.m. on Friday? I don't
Uh,
even know what I would be doing on a 3 p.m. on a Friday.
you know what's stupid that the NFL did this too is college basketball does like their big tournaments during Thanksgiving too. Like I'm pretty sure the Maui Invitational is during
No
Thanksgiving.
one gives a fuck. Okay, I'm sorry, but I love college basketball, but no one cares about college basketball relative to mid-season, almost near the end of the season
If
NFL.
I'm watching UConn Texas, I'm gonna or Jets Dolphins. I'm probably gonna turn on UConn Texas.
I'm doing Jets Dolphins in fucking week 12, 100%. And I'm a big Wisconsin. Like
Tim Boyle.
I watch games until they become a not a game. That's what I do. I don't care if it's fucking Cowboys Commanders. I'm gonna watch that game until it turns into a fucking blowout, which should probably be earlier than later. Anyways, next game, Steelers at Bengals, first Sunday game, 1 p.m. slate. Bengals, Steelers in Cincinnati. Steelers 1 point favorites. This
It,
this game to me is the Bengals' last stand. This is this is Jake Browning's last. It's like, what's the fucking guy's name? Someone's last stand. Custer's last stand, whatever.
yeah,
That's
General Custard.
this is fucking the Cincinnati Bengals' last shot at. They got to win this football game, and it's going to be a tough one. Steelers need to win this game.
Do you think that like the Bengals are gonna try to go to the playoffs now? Like, no, they're tanking.
No, they're not.
Yeah, shut it down.
They're not. The Bengals are not going to tank just because they
Yeah,
lost.
100%.
They have a phenomenal roster.
They have, but it's all surrounded by Joe Burrow.
Great. They can still, if Jake Browning plays fucking average football, they can win football games in the NFL for
But
sure.
they're not gonna win a Super Bowl.
But no one fucking you're so pessimistic. People don't think like that. You're not just like, hey, if we can't win the Super Bowl, we're not going to try. No,
If I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I'm just saying this. Like, let me put this one out there. If I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I want to lose every game for the rest of the season.
that's
Why?
a loser's
Why?
mentality.
Why would
It's a
why
loser.
would I want to win?
Because that's the point of the fucking game is to win. I get
Why
it. Oh, I
the
want a
re-
draft pick. As
so
soon as I
this
lose my
see this
best
is the
player, I'm gonna
opposite. This
quit.
this is why we're opposites. You've been blessed of having a good team for most of your life and me a bad team. If I'm a bad team and I know that I needed something to shore up my roster, I want a better draft pick. The Cincinnati Bengals have a bad offensive line. They need to protect Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has, I forget the stat of how many sacks he's taken since he's come into the league. But if I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I want to lose so that I get a high draft pick and I can get a better offensive tackle
No,
on a cheap contract.
don't like it. Denied.
Denied.
Um, but yeah, big game. Uh, Next game, Jaguars Texans. Another big game. Texans it's at Houston. Jaguars are 1 point underdogs. No, 1 point favorites.
1 point
Correction.
favorite.
Yep, 1 point favorite. You know what sucks is I won't be able to watch any of these football games because I'll be traveling, and it fucking sucks.
You're going to be flying back on this day?
Yeah,
Oh, that does suck.
it's miserable. I like great. It's a great week of football.
This is a
Um,
good slate. There's a good amount of mix of divisional games. There's a lot of history games that you can watch.
Literally every single game is watchable in this slate, except for the Patriots and Giants. But
That's the history game I was getting after.
um, but anyways, what do we have
Jaguars
next game?
Texans.
Jaguars Texans. Go ahead and start talking about that one.
Texans have already knocked off the Jaguars once this season. Game is in Houston. If Texans win, Texans are in first place in the AFC South.
And I don't think, wait, if the Texans win, they're in the first place.
Of the AFC South, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. So this game is probably like one of the biggest matchups, not just because of playoffs, because the Jaguars have the time, but like for the Jaguars, it's like this is your tiebreaker game. And I know you just said that, but if they're both going to what is it, 7-4, that's you're not worried about that as a Jaguar. You can still get your way back, but that's where the tiebreaker part sucks. It helps Houston that they're in Houston, and they found a gritty way to win the game this past Sunday. You've got to be so excited and thrilled if you're a Houston Texan fan to have CJ Stroud playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, almost solidifying himself as one, maybe. You got fucking the interception from Stingley, the corner, the
Derek
Derek Stingley,
Stingley, who
the
who
corner out
who's
of
been
LSU.
who's been hurt for a long time and finally is starting to play again.
Will Anderson, fucking, he's balling out, getting a sack. He looks dominant. And then they got fucking Tank Dell, who was just all over the place, making plays, looking elite.
And Devin
And
Singletary coming over from Buffalo looking pretty good.
yeah, and that's another new addition. But I'm talking about like that super young
Oh,
core.
those rookies, yeah.
Yeah, and it's impressive. So exciting for a fan base that thought they were gonna have like the worst team in the NFL this year. But
Yep.
uh next game, Buccaneers at Colts. This is one of those where pretty much like a must win for the Colts and the Buccaneers. I think this is one of those where like you really need to try to win to stay in the hunt for the NFC South because we'll get to the next game too. You got the Saints Falcons. That's a massive football game. I think if the Falcons lose, you're looking at like it's over for your NFC South hopes. But
Arthur
just
Smith would be really on the hot seat if they lose that game.
yeah, and they're favored in that game. But we'll go back. Buccaneers
Buccaneers
Colts,
Colts.
massive game, and that's Colts are 2.5 point favorites at home. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. I think both teams kind of have interesting play styles that would make this game interesting to watch with the Buccaneers offense. I think it's going to be a high scoring game just
Yeah.
because
Over
the
under 43 now.
Colts have a bad defense. I think they're going to score points. Buccaneers defense has kind of been reeling a little bit, and I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, interesting matchup. That's one where like I can't I don't have a memory of these two teams ever playing one another.
Buccaneers Colts.
Yeah, like I can't picture like a game in NFL history of Buccaneers playing the Colts.
Yeah, probably for the best. Um, Saints Falcons. We just talked about it in Atlanta. Falcons 1 point favorite at home.
I'm trying to look up if Jameis Winston is going to be the starter or if Derek Carr is back. So give me 1 second on that.
That's probably why the Falcons would be favored. But I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Carr is an underdog too, because they don't love what he's put together this season.
There's optimism that Carr will return after the team's bye week. Dennis Allen said on Monday, Carr remains in concussion protocol. Carr apparently isn't yet in the clear on the health front after he exited the Week 10 loss to the Vikings. Yeah, so Derek Carr is in concussion protocol still. That is not a good sign after, having the bye week to get healthy. Did you say the Falcons are favored?
Falcons are favored by 1 point. Yes.
Falcons favored by 1. Interesting. But I don't know. I would take Jameis over the fucking goddamn Falcons. Jesus. Arthur Smith needs a win in order to keep his job, I think.
I wouldn't disagree. Although I don't think he'll be fired the next day if he's.
No, I think like the wheels of their season might really start coming off there.
And then, okay, so next game we have Patriots at Giants in New York. 3 points favorites for the Patriots. So
Really?
yeah, so Bailey Zappi and the New England Patriots 3 point favorites against the Tommy DeVito Giants.
Insane.
What a terrible matchup.
Oh my God. Bailey Zappi, Tommy DeVito. I think this might be the game I watch at 1:00.
Yeah.
Even though there are so much better games for me to watch, I might watch this one.
I hope my plane has Wi-Fi and that's the only game that they show. But
Well, you are flying from New York, so you'll probably get New York channels on your plane. I don't know if that's how that works.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if New York blacks out the market for their own fucking local TV games. But anyways, don't want to talk about that game. Panthers at Titans. Titans 3.5 point favorites in Tennessee. Will Levis versus Bryce Young, the rookie QB duel. Hey, Panthers won against the last rookie QB battle. Titans are 3.5 point favorites, though. That's crazy.
That's a lot for how bad the Titans have looked the last couple weeks.
Yeah, but I don't know. Titans have some veteran players. They got a veteran team. Just you'd like to think that last week was against a really good football team. That's why they lost by 3+
So
scores.
much. I think the deciding factor in that one is just Vrabel in himself.
All right. What do you got any more on that game, or we move on?
No,
Rams at
I'm
Rams
pretty
at
good there.
Cardinals.
Rams at Cardinals.
Rams 0.5 point favorite, 0.5 point favorite. Might as well just make that even, but whatever the fuck. Interesting that it's such a close game. I would have easily thought that the Rams would just have a little bit more in this one favored, but I don't know. It'll be Kyler Murray makes the Cardinals a much more fun team to watch, so that's something.
They're at least interesting to watch now because those last few Josh Dobbs games were not fun to watch. Kyler Murray, I don't know his stats against the Rams in history, but I don't think it's good.
Yeah, you don't. You would assume it's not.
I would, yeah.
This game is mildly interesting. It's the first game we're talking about in the 4 p.m. slate. Keeps the Rams in the playoff hunt if they can win this one. That's really what you look at in this one. So Packers, you're rooting for the Cardinals. Buccaneers, you're rooting for the Cardinals. Commanders, you're rooting for the Cardinals. No one else gives a fuck. All right. Browns at Broncos. 4 p.m. game. Broncos at Denver at home. 2.5 point favorites against the Browns.
Yep. Doesn't surprise me. Browns still starting a rookie 5th-round draft pick, DTR. Even though they signed Joe Flacco this week, Browns travel to Denver. There's a little history in this matchup too with the 1980 something AFC Championship game, the fumble on the 1-yard line by Ernest Biner for the Broncos to go on to win the Super Bowl. So that they'll probably show that highlight maybe 35 times because almost every time the Browns play the Broncos, they show that highlight, and it's painful. I understand why the Broncos are favored, especially with how hot they've been. So
Yeah, I'm not like keen on the Broncos, but I understand that they are kind of one of those teams that you're playing them at the right time.
yeah,
I think this is the week that you guys take them apart though, because they're coming off of a late Sunday night game where they had kind of a crazy victory in the last series, and maybe they're coming off of a too high moment and they
Kareem
fall back to
Jackson did get suspended for the next 4 games.
again.
Yep, without
Geez,
pay this time.
that's crazy. He literally is his first game back after the Luke Musgrave hit that he
And
had
it
in
was the
pack.
one of the first plays of the game of
Yeah.
him leading with his helmet into Josh Dobbs that caused that fumble.
Yeah. Next game, Chiefs at Raiders in Las Vegas. Don't have a line for this one yet because the game
I've got
hasn't been.
nine,
You got 9?
nine. Kansas City 9.
Okay, I'm gonna go -9 then. Yeah, I mean it's a big spread.
I think it's just the fact that the Chiefs have fucking murdered the Raiders over the last few years. It's not that much of a different roster. Aiden O'Connell doesn't make that much of a difference, even if it's a player's team now in Las Vegas. I think that could be a recipe of destruction going against the Chiefs and Andy Reid.
What do you have for Bills Eagles?
Bills Eagles. I have Philly -3.5 point favorite.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good football game.
That's an interesting one. I would after the Bills' offensive output against the Jets, it'd be interesting to see if they can continue that against the Eagles. You know, a much more rounded opponent in the Eagles and another Super Bowl favorite in the Eagles. So if the Bills really want to enter back into that conversation, it's put up or shut up time for them. And you got to make a statement here against Philly.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Uh Fuck. So next game, Ravens at Chargers, Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football, Ravens at Chargers,
4 point.
Baltimore 4 point favorites.
Yeah. That's kind of low, maybe. I don't know. Justin Herbert, he's got some spice.
Ravens defense though is good. I would say the Ravens defense against that Chargers offense is a recipe for a blowout win for the Ravens. Ravens also love to beat up on average to below average teams, and that could be something bad for the Chargers.
Yeah, I kind of agree there. Um, Bears at Vikings, Monday Night Football. Vikings 3.5 point favorites at home.
Minnesota 3.5 point favorites. Josh Dobbs. That's I mean, the Vikings are a better coach team. Vikings have more playmakers. I don't know if Justin Jefferson will return for this game. They were talking about it a little bit last night during the game that he doesn't feel like he's up to speed or feels like himself quite yet, and that's why he's continuing to sit out these weeks. If I'm a Bears fan, I want to see Justin Fields ball out like he did last week against Detroit. At least make the games entertaining, especially because this is 2 out of the last 3 weeks that the Bears are in prime time. I'd love to see the Bears be competitive.
Yeah.
I would love to see Justin Fields look like a NFL caliber quarterback.
All right, so that's our full week 12 lineup.
That's our week 12
Second
slate.
second down. We'll go
Third
to third
down.
down now. Well, that was second down. We'll go to third down. Locks and upsets. We both got our lock. That puts me at 10-1. and you at 6-5.
Yay.
And then our upsets, we both lost. Vikings, I had the Vikings, and you had the Bengals. So that puts us at 5-6 each. Now, lock and upset this week. Who do you got?
Lock of the week for Kyle. Lock of the week. I'm locking it in right now. Riding high. Cowboys.
Cowboys again?
Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I will go Dolphins.
Over the Jets.
Dolphins over the Jets. Now, upset. Who do you got?
Upset of the week. There's two I like. Give me the Saints against Atlanta.
Yeah, I like the Saints and I also like the Rams, but I'm picking the Rams.
Taking the Rams.
All right. Fourth down. Best matchup, sneakiest matchup. My best matchup was Eagles Chiefs. We're fucking missing kickoff as we speak.
Wait a minute. The Rams aren't underdogs.
You touche. I will go Buccaneers.
You're going with the Buccaneers. Okay.
Fourth down. Best matchup, Eagles Chiefs, mixing kickoff. You had Ravens Bengals. Joe Burrow got hurt, turned into a bad game. Sneakiest matchup, I had Jets Bills. That was a really fucking bad game. And you had Cardinals Texans, which was weirdly a really good game. So
Dude, my sneakiest matchups of the year have been really fucking.
your sneakiest matchups are probably like the best games of the year every single week.
Yeah, in the week before that, I had Texans, Bengals.
Yeah, no.
Week
I'm
before
just
that,
more
I had the
watching.
Titans and the Steelers. That was a good game.
Just don't say Giants Patriots this time, please. Okay, who's your best matchup?
Best matchup of the week. I think I know what yours is going to be, so I'll go different. I'll say the best matchup is going to be this. I like divisional games, 49ers Seahawks.
Oh wow, okay. I was gonna say Jags Texans.
Yeah, that's why I went with a different one.
Well, I thought you were gonna say I was gonna go Bills Eagles, but
Uh,
you have Jags. Wait, you have
49ers Seahawks.
Yep, Niners Seahawks. All right, sneakiest matchup.
What's yours?
I'm torn between a few. I will go. I'll say Bears Vikings.
Bears
Monday Night
Vikings.
Football. Yeah, I think Justin Fields. It's kind of a prove it season for him. So the Bears are going to be playing some motivated football. Vikings have a lot to play for, and that's really what it matters too for them.
So Bears Vikings. I like that one. Sneaky. I'll go with the Cardinals and Rams. I think that's another interdivisional game. Kyler Murray getting back to healthy. Stafford trying to lead the Rams on a hopeful playoff push. They would need to win that game in order to get their hopes back alive.
And so you went
3-3.
on pick six?
Yeah. Last week, my pick sixes. I had the Bengals. That was a loss. I had the Packers. That was a win. Steelers was a loss. Cowboys was a win. Seahawks was a loss. Jags was a win. 3-3.
Wait, but you had Seahawks. Yeah, you're right. So you're 3-3. Okay. And I am 1-4 with the potential to be 2-4, or 1-5. So right now you go to 34 and 31 and 1.
I don't know. You've been fucking this up. I don't know if I trust you.
That's accurate. And then I go to 34 and 30 and 1 with the ability to either go one above you or to make you tied with me.
Yeah, it's been tight.
So I've just been reeling the last few weeks.
I
Anyways,
mean, I haven't been good either.
my first pick for pick 6, Lions -7.5 against the Packers.
Oh, you were hammering that.
Yeah.
Lions -7.5. Give me the Cowboys -10.5 against the Commanders.
Next one I have is Buccaneers +2.5.
I am on the same pick.
Perfect. And then my next pick is Saints +1.
I am on the same pick.
Then my next one is Rams -0.5.
Give me the Cardinals to upset the Rams.
Then my next one is Browns +2.5.
I am not on the same pick as that one.
I think that.
2.5 for the Browns. Hmm. Give me the Jaguars to get revenge. -1.
Jaguars -1.
Mm-hmm.
Then my next pick, my final one, Vikings -3.5.
Give me Baltimore -4.
All right, who's got the juice?
Who's got the juice of the week? So last week I had TJ Hawkinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. This week, my who's got the juice pick of the week is going to be 3, 2, 1. I'm going with Tank Dell. Tank Dell has been on fire the last few weeks, putting up 30.9 points in fantasy this past week, 8 receptions for 149 yards and a touchdown. That is a who's got the juice type of performance. Who's yours? Who got the juice?
I would say you said who? You said Tank Dell?
Yeah.
I was legitimately gonna pick Tank Dell. Anyways, shit. Okay. Every person I pick usually flames out, so I don't want to say the person I was gonna say, but fuck it. You know what? I'm not gonna say it. Who's got the juice is gonna be the fuck. Give me something. I'm thinking. I don't want to pick anybody. Odell Beckham Jr.
I was waiting for something.
Odell Beckham Jr. He's a young, fly, hip guy again. But
Yeah, he's back to putting on and stunting on. That will do it for another episode of MnM Going Deep. We'll catch you probably next Monday again due to Kyle being in the cavalry. We're going to go watch this Eagles-Chiefs game. Everybody have a great week. And as always, go Browns.